Okay, so I've been missing for about 5 years. Good to be back. Apparently, I'm an MMA YouTuber now. I'm going to be predicting the entire UFC 300 pay-per-view card, but more better than my friend Noah. Because Noah, you're wrong on some things. We pretty much got 70% of the same card. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to be going through the card from top to bottom, why I think who's going to win, and some thoughts maybe on who should get matched up after said fights happen. But yeah, let's get started. First fight on the early prelims. Okay, we got Davis and Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. Okay, this is a really good way to start off the card. Two former champs, Davis and Figueiredo, former flyweight champ, Cody Garbrandt, former UFC bantamweight champ. Okay, so for Figgy, always been a pretty good fighter, although he did hold, like Noah said, he did hold up the flyweight division for about 2 to 3 years in his back and forth spat with Brandon Moreno. Did manage to get one title defense, though, against Alex Perez, of all people. So he's a very linear fighter, okay? Who doesn't, I can't really say punches all that much. But he did get a very solid win against Rob Font. Rob Font's a very good litmus test for how good you are in the bantamweight division. So the fact that he cleared Rob Font is pretty indicative that he's at least got some skill, and he's going to have some success in the bantamweight division. On the other side, Cody Garbrandt. Okay, Cody Garbrandt has been he's had a bit of a rocky history, after getting knocked out by the Fortnite kid and manhandled by TJ Dillashaw. He's been out of the rankings for a while now. Got back a couple wins, most recently against Brian Keller at UFC 296, and he's definitely a more patient fighter than he used to be. However, he always has the giant Achilles heel of the fact that he has a glass chin. Like, he at any time anyone touches his chin, he could just go out because his chin is just dog shit. Okay? Figgy can take a punch to the chin. Garbrandt can't. Okay? And he also has TRX arms. Like, he has I want to say a 64-inch reach, despite him being 5'8". I think he did. Yeah. I want to say he has pretty short arms for his height. Okay, and then you compare that with Figueiredo. Figueiredo's actually got quite the opposite, where he's got a 68-inch reach, which is 5'8", and a 5'5" height, which is 65 inches, which is Cody Garbrandt's reach. So they're kind of opposites there, with Figgy being the shorter opponent and having a better reach. Okay, but it should be noted that Cody Garbrandt's a hooker. Okay, he's quite opposite to Figgy's linear style. Cody's a lot more goofy in his style with his hooks. He doesn't fight linearly, so he does have a possibility to knock out Figueiredo if he lets Figgy make the first move. Okay, if Figgy makes the first move, Cody can definitely catch him. But I'm just constantly being bugged. It's just something that's nagging at my mind that at any point Figgy touches Cody's chin, he's going to go out, and I think he can. So my prediction is that Figgy's going to get a round 1 KO against Cody Garbrandt. I just think Cody's going to do solid for a little bit, and then something's going to happen where he gets caught. He just gets caught with one shot to the chin, and he's done. And it should also be noted, I didn't know Cody was 32 until I looked him up. I thought he was 38. I don't know why. I just thought he was. But yeah, that's my prediction. Figgy round 1 KO. Yeah, on to the next fight. Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Jim fucking Miller. Okay. Jim Miller has been on fire recently. A couple wins. I forgot his most recent win. I know it was a third round submission. Uh, Definitely been doing very good for 40 years old. He's a real journeyman in the UFC. He has the most wins inside of the UFC. I think at 26. Yeah, and he 100% deserves to be on this card. Only guy to ever be on UFC 100, 200, and 300. And he's really good at he's pretty damn good at shooting takedowns. I think he's going to kill Bobby Green's lead leg. I think, honestly, he should have been fighting Paul Felder for this. That would have been a better legacy matchup. But that's all right. Still a pretty good matchup. Bobby Green, on the other hand, Bobby Green's pretty. If that Jaylen Turner fight had not sent Bobby to potential Tony Ferguson purgatory, I would be saying Bobby Green's going to win this fight. But it's because I don't think Bobby's ever going to be the same fighter after that fucking ref basically screwed him. That ref from Austin, Texas. Like, that was a horrible stoppage. That should have been stopped 10 seconds before because Bobby was out. He was out. And that's a career-changing injury. And other than him throwing his 1-2s, I don't think there's a whole lot he can do. I just think he might be a little bit more cautious about how he fights this, and that could be to his detriment. Not saying that he's going to fight like a pussy or anything, but he's got to keep in mind that his chin ain't going to be the same. He just in general, he's going to be, I think, a lot easier to knock out. So he's going to have that back of his mind fear that he could get knocked out at any moment because he's just had I think he's coming back way too early. But I don't think 4 months was nearly nearly enough recovery time. So overall, my prediction is going to be Jim Miller via decision. I don't think Jim Miller can knock out Bobby Green, but I think he can edge out Bobby Green by chopping up his legs and shooting the takedowns and getting the ground control. So I'm going with Jim Miller via decision. Okay. Next, Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. Okay, Jessica Andrade. I actually originally was picking Jessica Andrade. Now, I like to make it a point to not switch on too many of my original picks because I usually have more success with my original picks. There's some things I should have switched on, so I make some switches. This would be one of them. I originally was picking Jessica Andrade because of her recent performance against Mackenzie Dern, but then I realized Mackenzie Dern can't fucking punch. And before that, Andrade's coming off 3 losses to... first one was Erin Blanchfield. Somehow made her look like she can box and grapple, Blanchfield just got completely fraud-checked in the fight against Manon Fiorot. And then she got knocked out by Yan Xiaonan. I was there to watch that live. It was pretty bad. And then she just got submitted by Tatiana Suarez, okay? Jessica Andrade is not the same fighter she was in 2019. This is not champ Jessica Andrade. I think she's just missing that. She's just missing the oomph she used to have. And against anyone that's like slightly more skilled than Mackenzie Dern, she's going to lose to. And I think Marina Rodriguez, despite recently losing to the inbred Verna Jandiroba, which was last year, and I think she and her most recent fight was a win against Michelle Waterson-Gomez, which anyone can beat fucking Michelle Waterson-Gomez at this point. She's, I think, overall going to have a bit more of an edge in this fight than Jessica Andrade. She's patient. She's good on the outside. She's lengthy compared to Andrade. I think she's going to play it to the outside, and that she's going to edge this out and get a decently comfortable decision. My prediction, Marina Rodriguez, decision. Now to the next one. Jaylen Turner versus Money Moicano. Okay, Jaylen, I actually like this fight. And I'm a fan of Moicano, but I'm actually going to have to go with Jaylen Turner on this. Yes, Jaylen Turner did get taken down by Mateusz Gamrot, so not a great look. You should have. I know he said he wasn't prepared enough. But you should have been prepared for that. And he definitely should be prepared against Moicano, because Moicano will be shooting the takedowns and basically trying to make sweet, tender, boring love to him like he did to Drew Dober. Yeah, Moicano's fun to listen to his post-fight interviews, but in terms of his actual fighting, he's not amazing to watch. But I like his personality, and I'm a fan of Moicano, but overall, I don't think he's getting his damn money. I don't think Moicano's getting his damn money if he isn't getting Jaylen Turner to the ground. But I think he could. But I just trust more with Jaylen Turner. Bro's long. He's 6'3". He's longer and skinnier at 155 than Drake. And he's got a good striking, and he's got a good reach. Although he somehow choked on Dan Hooker's broken arm in that fight. Did good in the first round, and then just Dan Hooker turned it into a complete 180. I think he can get frustrated and kind of chokes out halfway through the fight sometimes. And that's been his detriment. I think that might have been his he didn't have too much of an answer to the takedowns when he lost to Garbrandt, which is why Garbrandt edged him out. It's just, I think when opponents frustrate him, it gets more difficult. But I think he's going to be more prepared for those takedowns from Moicano. I think stylistically, this is not a great matchup for Moicano. So I think Jaylen might have a much better time keeping it on the feet. And if he keeps it on the feet, I'm predicting a round 1 TKO for Jaylen Turner. Sorry to Moicano. It'd be cool if Moicano won. I like to see Moicano getting his damn money. And but I think Jaylen Turner's gonna win this fight. All right, so that's it for the early prelims. On to the prelims. Sadik Yusuff versus Diego Lopez. Okay, I have been on the Diego Lopez train since I watched him live at UFC 288 when he fought against Movsar Evloev. I remember distinctly when I was coming back from using the bathroom, I was stunned, standing around the stairs. I couldn't even get back to my seat because everyone was freaking out because Diego Lopez was about to... he almost got Evloev in a choke. He gave Movsar Evloev the hardest fight of his career on 5 days' notice. I think he totally beats Evloev with a full camp. And if Evloev's in the top 5, I think by default that could make Diego Lopez, as he is right now, a potential top 5 fighter. He's very long. He's very tall and rangy. He's a big guy for 145, okay? He's got more MMA, I'd say, compared to Sadik Yusuff, he's got more MMA experience, and on top of that, he has the mullet of Jesse's dreams, okay? In terms of Sadik Yusuff, I think Sadik Yusuff's all right, but he definitely struggled in his fight against Alex Caceres, if you go back and watch that fight, which I don't know how you struggle against Alex Caceres. And he got outclassed by Edson Barboza. So I don't know. I just have a lot more confidence in Diego Lopez. I think his train is still going. I think it's still going to be going strong, and I think we're going to see Diego Lopez in the top 15. So my prediction: Diego Lopez round 2 submission. I think he's got a lot more tools to beat Sadik Yusuff. I think he's got the momentum. He's young. I think he's younger, and that mullet's powerful, man. Next fight. My bathroom break. Okay, Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. So Holly Holm is the Dianne Feinstein of MMA. Somehow, skin and bones. Just bones at this point, because she's a literal fossil in the UFC. I'm sick and fucking tired of them playing the Ronda Rousey head kick clip, because it's the only good clip she has. Because there's no other good Holly Holm clips, because she just puts on boring fights in the fucking clinch. Meanwhile, she's fighting Kayla Harrison, who is the literal he's going to be the Michael Obama of the UFC. All right, she's an Olympic judo gold medalist, which means she's going to have some really good ground game, and could really dominate if she gets Holly Holm to the ground, which I think she can. And I think the only way, this is going to be pretty short, I think the only way Kayla Harrison loses this is if she misses weight, because she's huge. I'm not confident she makes weight, and from what I can tell, Holly Holm says she's not going to take the fight if Kayla Harrison misses weight. So I'm going to predict Kayla Harrison by a pretty boring decision, but very strong decision. And I'm also going to predict I'm going to win against Justin's Toilet via round 3 TKO, because I don't care about seeing this fight. I really don't. Okay, next fight. This is a good fight. Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. Okay, I am going to go with Aljo via boring decision. Why? Okay, Calvin Kattar, he's a very good striker, very slick. However, he's coming off a year-long layoff, okay? And I know Noah picked Calvin Kattar to win, but it's also very important to note that this fight, a lot of this hinges on whether or not Kattar can defend against Aljo's takedowns, and Aljo's really, really good at grappling against the cage. So it's important to note then that as for what leg he injured, and that he had this over year-long layoff, so there's definitely going to be some ring rust, I think. Not as much as others, but I think there's going to be some, because he's been out for so long. But it should be noted that his back leg was injured, not his front leg. That's unusual, and also it could compromise his takedown defense, because as Aldo's shooting the takedown, as he's trying to lean back on his back leg, it could be compromised because that was the injured leg. So I think he's going to be more vulnerable to the I think Aljo is going to take him down. As for Aljo, he is the Jose Aldo. Aljo is the Aldo to Sean's Conor McGregor, okay? Made sweet, tender love to Sean O'Malley's right hand. Just rammed right into it. Was really eager to get to meet O'Malley's fist. He's the greatest actor in the UFC. Like, I'm shocked the Academy Awards haven't contacted him for an award for that, for getting his belt against Peter Yan. Another con about him is that I didn't know it on here. I don't think he's ever had a really convincing title performance, because he won his bantamweight belt via DQ. Okay, his first title defense was a controversial, split decision. A lot of people think Peter Yan won that fight. I'm not sure who won that fight, but it could have been Peter Yan. It wasn't that convincing. He TKO'd TJ Dillashaw, a crippled TJ Dillashaw. TJ should never have been in that cage, and then so that wasn't convincing either. And his third title defense was a very close split decision against Henry Cejudo, also not convincing. And then he proceeded to get knocked out by Sean O'Malley. So overall, Aljo, not too many convincing wins. However, he's finally going up to 145. He's finally someone at 145 who has good grappling, okay? There's not a lot of good grapplers, and Advolev doesn't fucking count. I'm not counting that guy. So I think he's definitely going to give Calvin Kattar a run for his money. I think a lot of why Aljo's going to win is, I think on the feet, Calvin Kattar's definitely got the advantage here, because Aljo's got pillow hands. He punches softer than Bob Ross's voice. And I think he's just going to be able to take Calvin Kattar down and hold him down for a boring decision. Because one, Aljo's a good grappler, especially against the cage, and also more so because Calvin Kattar's back leg is going to be injured in that fight and could seriously compromise his takedown defense. So overall, my prediction is going to be Aljamain Sterling via a boring decision, okay? But I don't care. I just want to see him out of the bantamweight rankings. All right, last fight of the prelims. Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. Okay, my boy Yuri, okay, he's a Chad, he's a samurai, bro punches trees and screams in the woods. He only goes forwards. He pulls off wacky combos and fires punches on wacky angles, throws random flying knees, throws those elbows. He basically destroyed Dominic Reyes and sent him down to Ryan Spann further down the down the path to MMA hell. Yeah, I don't think Dominic Reyes is ever recovering from that. He was a participant in the probably the best fight I've ever seen against Glover Teixeira. Like, that is the, in terms of fights I've actually watched as they happened, that was probably the best fight I've ever seen. Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira is an amazing fight. 24 and a half minutes of absolute war, and Yuri getting the last minute submission. I think unlike the last fight where he got knocked out by Pereira, he's gonna be coming out. He's gonna be coming in with much less rust than he did, because remember he's coming off it. He came off before back in November from a 1.5 year long shoulder injury, which was described by doctors as the worst shoulder injury they'd ever seen. But I think we're back to a point where Yuri's pretty comfortable, although he did get knocked out by Pereira. So I don't know how that's going to affect his performance coming back after 4 months. I think he should have stayed out a little longer, but you know what? He wants to come back. He wants to come back. So as for Rakic only goes backwards. He's only on the back foot, which could work against Yuri because Yuri only goes forwards. Someone who only goes backwards could work against someone who only goes forwards. The dude is an absolute snooze fest. He just leg kicks people in point fights. That's all he does. Okay? And bro's got an ACL skill issue. Like, he's coming out. He's gonna come out. He's the one coming. Yuri before in his fight with Alex, he was the one coming in with rust. Now Rakic is the one coming in with rust. So I think that rust could play into his performance being not as good as it would have been, and I think overall Yuri might get the best of him at some point. I think he might outpoint Yuri. I think Rakic might outpoint Yuri for most of the fight, but I think Yuri's going to somehow blitz in and find some kind of crazy combo for a round 3 KO. So my prediction, Yuri Prochazka, round 3 KO. And let's go on to the main card. Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. All right, why the fuck is this on the main card? He's fighting a can. Why? Like, it's Bo Nickel versus a literal can. So, Cody Brundage should not be in the UFC. I don't know why he's here. And this is literally just a sacrificial lamb fight. Why is this on the main card? Like, when this got announced at $299 as being on the main card, I was like, why? Like, why? Why are you being that disrespectful to Yuri? I think Yuri Rakic should have been on the first fight of the main card. If not, do Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. But why Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage? Just why? There's not much to say about this fight. Like Bo Nickel is definitely the better fighter here, and he's gonna kill Cody Brundage. It's gonna be Bo Nickel by whatever round finish he wants. So he wants to submit him, he can. I don't think it's gonna be a decision. Like, I know Noah said it's by whatever he wants. He's not gonna decision him. He's gonna finish him in the first round. That's it. It's over. Bo Nickel at this point, give him give him Ikram Aliskerov. I agree. Give him Ikram Aliskerov. Yeah, not much to say about this fight. All right, let's keep going to where the actual main card starts, and that is Charles Dubronx Oliveira versus Armen Tsarukyan. All right, Charles Oliveira. Charles finishes everybody except inbred Dagestanis on PEDs. Okay, and this man is so and this guy has so many finishes, like possibly the most finishes in the UFC. He has 10 knockouts and 21 submissions, which is crazy. And 30, which makes 31 out of his 34 wins by a finish. And the last time he got a decision was actually against Tony Ferguson, which is literally just because Tony's tough and autistic. So yeah, Oliveira definitely has the finishing ability. He's always looking for the finish for first round, second round, something like that. And that makes him he's extremely dangerous. He hasn't slowed down. And this guy is so blonde that Adolf came out of Argentina just to meet him. Love that blonde hair. And most importantly, he just got possibly the ultimate buff. Bro just had a kid. Last time he had a kid, he went on an 11-fight win streak, okay? So I'm hoping maybe this could be the run at the title against Islam that we're finally looking for. Now, Armen Tsarukyan, short prick. I hate this kid, personally. Now, so just going to acknowledge my bias here in my pick. I don't like Armen Tsarukyan. I think he's a little prick. He gave Islam his hardest fight, but somehow also made Mateusz Gamrot look like a decent striker, which ain't a good look. And I think really how this fight's going to go, I think it could be really competitive for a couple minutes, or for the first round, and I think in the second round, what we could see is that Charles not even rocks him, but backs him up against the cage. Armen has a bad habit of shooting panic takedowns against when he's backed against the cage, and if he does that against Oliveira, Oliveira's going to fucking gilly him. He will make him pay for it. So overall, I think Oliveira's got more tools to win in this fight. I don't know, not really convinced Armen's ready for the top five, because he got his spot off of his win for Beneil Dariush. But guess who also knocked out Beneil Dariush? Oliveira. So what does that tell you? I really don't think Armen's gonna out. He has a chance, but I think I trust more in Oliveira on this fight. So overall, my prediction, my boy Charles do Bronx is going to get that title shot against Islam Makhachev, hopefully later this year, maybe like Madison Square Garden, November. That'd be a good rematch. And I'm predicting a round 2 submission for this fight. Okay, so feature fight, Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. This is a big one, okay? So Justin, the highlight. Okay, here, this is an interesting one because I actually switched on this fight. I originally picked Justin Gaethje. I thought his power was just going to eventually break Max Holloway. I thought this might have been a bad matchup for Max Holloway. But then the more I looked into it, the more I think that Jerome is actually going to win this fight, okay? First of all, starting off with Justin Gaethje, he's got good kicks, but he's got overrated hands. The guy has not, don't call him a knockout artist strictly because of that Dustin Poirier head kick. That is never happening again. That is not happening twice in a row, I promise you. Okay? He's got good kicks. He's got good power in his kicks, but he's got overrated hands. I don't think he has that. Yeah, I don't think he has as much power as Khabib's described. I don't think his hands hit exactly like truck. When was the last time he knocked out somebody? The last time he KO'd somebody by punches was Tony Ferguson, and that ended up being a doctor stoppage. And the last time he actually really KO'd someone, I think might have been James Vick, and I could fucking knock out James Vick at this point. And first of all, the guy, honestly, if Max shot a takedown on him, he wouldn't know what to do because Justin Gaethje needs a fucking life alert when he gets taken down. He has no idea what to do on the ground. Which is why if he got a shot against Islam, he's screwed, because all Islam has to do is take him down once and he's gonna die. Anyway, Jerome Max Holloway he recently got a hidden buff from his custom flower shorts, which I think are gonna be fucking awesome to see. Compared to Justin Gaethje's shorts, I think if Gaethje shorts, they just actually added the American flag colors for the stripes instead of gray. Like, they left the black background, but kind of had the American stripes. That would be a much, much cooler set of trunks. But no, they decided to keep it super bland. He even said in UFC Embedded, this is not exactly what he wanted. He wanted more of the Apollo Creed look, which I think would look way cooler, but whatever. So against Max Holloway, he's best boxer at UFC, baby. Yeah, he's just got so much volume. He's got a volume higher than Lizzo. I think he's just going to be able to put the pressure on Gaethje and keep that volume of punches high. I think he's going to just outstrike him in the combos. I think overall his boxing will break Justin Gaethje, and Gaethje can get dropped. Max Holloway has a chin harder than my heat and thermodynamics test. And this time, unlike the Dustin Poirier fight, it's not short notice. He's had proper time to bulk up to 155 and prepare for this. I think he's looking good. Like, he's actually looking like a 155er from the pictures I've seen. And I think overall Max is gonna Max is going to get a decision on here. I don't think he's going to have the power to knock out Justin Gaethje. I think he can drop him a couple times, but I don't think he'll knock him out. So I'm seeing Max. I'm switching. I switched on my pick here. Max Holloway via decision. I think he's going to outclass Justin Gaethje, and we're going to see just how insane we're going to all be reminded about how insane Max's boxing is. And then if he wins, you're all of a sudden put in a very interesting position, because now he's actually in title contention in 2 different divisions. He could fight Islam and he could fight Ilia Topuria. So as for what he does next, if he actually wants to wait and fight against Islam, or he wants to move back down to 145 and fight Topuria, I don't think he wins either. But if he wins against Gaethje, he's in a very interesting position where he could get a title shot in 2 different divisions, because all of a sudden he's the number 2 featherweight and the number 2 lightweight. It would be crazy. But yeah, overall my prediction is going to be Max Holloway via decision, and it could be a possible Stalingrad war. This is definitely one to watch. So I'm going to agree with Noah on this one. On to the co-main, Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan. There's not too much to say here. It's a pretty decent fight, but overall Zhang Weili is a Wuhan lab experiment. She is inhuman, like just insanely good. She's the most dominant. She's the most dominant champ in the UFC right now. I don't think anyone's going to touch her for a while until she retires or, I don't know, injures herself or something. And she's got way more ways to win. She can knock you out. She can submit you. And as for Yan Xiaonan, she beat Jessica Andrade. Okay. Good. It was a good knockout. I liked it. It was a good knockout, but it's not that impressive. I think overall Zhang Weili is going to be pretty definitive in this. I think it could go on for a little while, but I think she's going to dominate Yan Xiaonan on the feet, somehow gets her to the ground, probably in round 4, and submits her. I could see the submission victory. Yan Xiaonan is not nearly as much of a submission person as Zhang Weili. I just think Zhang Weili is just too good. She's just too good right now. And this fight should have happened at a fight night in China, because that would have been this fight's never happening again. You're never going to get 2 Chinese contenders to fight, a Chinese champ and then a Chinese contender to fight again. They really had a missed opportunity here. But whatever. I think Zhang Weili is a pretty easy pick here. And on to the main event. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I'm most excited for. Alex Poatan Pereira versus Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. All right, Alex Pereira is the real Connecticut nutmegger. He and the real mayor of Danbury, as you can see on the picture on the left here. Finally put Connecticut on the MMA map. Actually, no Glover did, but he really put Alex really put Connecticut on the map. So good to see that. He's got a left hook more dangerous than a BMW driver, and it hits like a BMW driver on an unsuspecting motorist. He just sends people to the shadow realm. At the very least, you get clipped by that, you're gonna get rocked. Also, a thing to note: Alex, everyone especially in the light heavyweight division, says they will strike with Alex Pereira, and then he light kicks them twice, and then they're immediately shooting. Okay, Jamal Hill says he's going to completely strike with Alex Pereira. I'm really not confident in that. I think he's going to get kicked twice and then decide to shoot. He's got plenty of champ experience. He's beaten 4 champs, that being Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya. Knocked out Sean Strickland, knocked out Israel Adesanya, beat Jan Blachowicz via altitude, and knocked out Yuri because Yuri was being too goofy and left his right arm down and got left hooked. But as for weaknesses, Alex should be noted he's a grappler's wet dream. His grappling's gotten better. It's definitely gotten better. He had to get better, especially because when he fought Jan Blachowicz, it's definitely a step up in grappling from, say, Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya has no grappling, and neither does Sean Strickland. Well, Sean Strickland doesn't even bother. So he's been really lucky for a while to not have to deal with too many heavy grapplers, but he's been taken down by Jan Blachowicz. He's been taken down by Yuri. It's just that Yuri's goofy, but he's a grappler's wet dream, and Jamal can definitely grapple. It's just a question of will Jamal grapple. If I'm Jamal, if I'm trying to be smart here, I'd say, like, dude, actually try to expose Alex's grappling weakness, his ground game weakness. Okay? And another thing, he fights like he's still wearing glory gloves. He holds his hands really far apart in front of his face. So he's proven by when he got knocked out by Izzy a year ago. He is vulnerable to shots down the pipe. And if Jamal could, Jamal said he got advice from Israel Adesanya about how to beat Alex Pereira. I guarantee you it's just fire a 1-2 down the pipe while he's trying to push you up against the cage. Because I think Jamal could catch him potentially there and knock him out. Alex has a decent chin, though. But I don't think I think Alex is in that scenario again. He's not gonna he's gonna try not to make the same mistake as he did against Israel Adesanya. I think he knows that weakness is there. He can get caught. He has been caught, but I'm hoping he'll actually pay attention to that. Now, on to Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is a great boxer. Okay, his right hand especially. And, like, his boxing, overall, I'd say he's the better boxer than Alex Pereira. In terms of overall striking, I'd give the edge to Pereira, but in terms of the boxing sector, I'd give Jamal Hill the point there. His southpaw stance makes this a very different fight. Remember, last time Alex Pereira fought a southpaw, I think it was Bruno Silva, and Alex is not as active against southpaws in terms of his especially his kicks. He's definitely a more built to fight orthodox stances. So it's going to be way harder for Jamal in that southpaw stance for Alex to leg kick Jamal, you know? However, it should be noticed that the southpaw stance also means Alex could start throwing head kicks. So he could be open to that. I'm not saying a head kick's going to happen, but it does mean that Alex can do it. And Jamal Hill will occasionally switch to the orthodox stance briefly, and in those moments, Alex needs to be careful not to create a pattern, but also to try to take advantage of when he can leg kick with the back leg onto when Jamal Hill briefly switches to the orthodox stance. But at the same time, Jamal Hill can bait Alex by switching into the orthodox stance for a leg kick, so that Jamal can counter Alex. It should also be noted, Jamal Hill has honestly been more injured in a pickup basketball game than in an MMA. I've never seen him seriously hurt other than the shit with the Paul Craig fight. I don't know how good his chin is yet. Really, we're going to find out how good his chin is against Alex Pereira if he gets caught. But it should be noted he's coming off 15 months layoff from that Achilles tear, which is a really bad injury. He wasn't laid off for 15 months, but it's been 15 months since his last fight. It's been 9 months since he injured himself. He's coming back earlier than he wanted, probably I think because he's getting a nice sack of money from Dana. And also not the best wins. He's fighting over against Jimmy Crute, where in the words of the MMA guru, he fights on the feet like he's stepping on Legos. He knocked out Glass Chin Caveman Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, I love the guy, but he's easy to knock out. You just have to touch his chin once. He beat up no knees Thiago the Chop Cheese Santos, and he beat up Old Man Glover for 5 rounds. And he also beat James Hill Jr., his brother. Really definitively. I'd say that's his most notable victory. Not the champion level competition that Pereira's been against. But I wouldn't say. But they've all been good finishes, just against questionable opponents. But I think Alex is really going to be the true test. If he beats Alex, he's 100% the real deal. He's 100% I think he's already kind of the real deal, and he's one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC, but this will be the real test. He beats Alex, no one should ever question Jamal Hill again. He's amazing if he wins against Jamal Hill. And I think if he wins against Alex Pereira, he will win against Magomed Ankalaev. I think he has a way better chance of beating Magomed Ankalaev than Alex Pereira does. However, this critical piece is that I noticed in a lot of his fights, especially in the Thiago Santos fight, in some points in the Glover Teixeira fight, he drops his right hand to his waist when he throws his left, which you can't do that against Pereira. Pereira will duck out of the way, and he will left hook you. You cannot do anything that could open you to a left hook, because Alex has like a left hook tracking sensor, like that automatically is on at all times, looking for moments where he could, that is automatically scanning for moments when he could left hook somebody. So and also it should be noted, I didn't note on here, is that because he fought Glover Teixeira, we're in an interesting position where Glover, as Alex's master, can basically coach him effectively after having been essentially beat up by Jamal Hill for 25 minutes. And Glover actually got some decent shots in there as well. But and it should be noted, like I said this before the Yuri fight with Alex, that Yuri gets rocked in every fight, but he's never fought anyone that hits as hard as Alex Pereira. Jamal has not really been hurt in any fight, but he has not faced anyone that hits as hard as Alex Pereira. Because I think Alex Pereira definitely has more power. According to Glover, Yuri hits harder than Jamal. I don't know how true that is, because this is Glover saying it. And, of course, he's going to be on Alex's side. But you want my overall pick? I disagree with Noah. I think the mayor of Danbury, Alex Pereira, is going to get a second-round TKO. I think he's going to catch him with the... I think Jamal, if he drops his right hand to his waist, he's going to get caught with the left hook. I don't think he's going to get knocked out. I think he's going to get rocked, but Alex should be able to finish him from there. Yeah, I just think he came back too early. Like, maybe I would be leaning more towards Jamal if he came back like a month or two from now. But I was tempted to switch to Jamal Hill, but overall I think I like Alex's chances here. So I'm predicting Alex Pereira, round 2 TKO, and still just acknowledge my bias really quick. Alex is my favorite fighter. Yeah, I think that's the rest of that's the end of my predictions. Noah, you can agree with me, disagree with me. We'll see who's right Saturday. So thank you very much.